Hi again. Welcome, everyone. And welcome back if you joined us in our last session. If you haven't had the privilege yet of viewing our first session, please go back and review um, the first initial detox session that we uploaded. It's lovely that you could all join us and also to welcome any new faces that would be joining us today. In our first video, we talked about reclaiming energy and the gentle way to do that without extremes or punishments or the feelings of guilt. Tonight, we're going a layer deeper. And Izzy, perhaps you could briefly remind everyone what we covered last time so we're all started from the same foundation.
Absolutely. In the first session, we reframed detox as support rather than restriction. We introduced the idea of toxic load, that symptoms arise when the load coming in exceeds the body's capacity to handle that load that's coming in. And we also talked about why January is often the moment the body finally speaks up after a busy, indulgent, or perhaps stressful period. What we didn't do then was to really unpack how we as practitioners think about detox, because I feel that's an important angle. And that's really where tonight comes in, isn't it, Anita?
Yes, of course. Viewing detox from a practitioner's perspective is an important aspect to remember. So, this webinar is for educational and informational purposes only, and it does not replace any personalized medical advice. We do advise that if you are wanting to embark on this journey, that you consult your health practitioner. If you are pregnant or breastfeeding, have a medical condition, please do consult a practitioner or somebody to advise you, the same as if you are taking any prescription medications, because that can alter the way that your body uptakes that prescription medication. And yeah, it is useful from a practitioner's perspective to understand all your body's wants and needs and what you are feeding it in conjunction with doing the detox. So please check your health practitioner before using any herbs or supplements, or before embarking on any sauna or infrared type of therapies, or if you consider fasting or detox routines. And stop if you're feeling unwell. Do seek medical advice for any persistent or severe symptoms. It should not be so uncomfortable that it causes you to feel that your day to day is taking strain. Um, it should be something that you incorporate into your day to day, and it should be with ease. So, for today's session, this is about how we as practitioners view your detox process. And with that in place, let's get into the good stuff.
So if any of these apply to you, then detox should be gentler and ideally guided. We, as naturopaths, we like to see every person as individuals, with unique characteristics and unique strengths and abilities, and our bodies are completely built differently. We've had different experiences and journeys through life. So we like to have, when we're walking our clients through detox, we like to make sure that it's is unique for that individual, and that is exactly what that individual needs. You still benefit from the foundations that we'll talk about: sleep, hydration, fiber, gentle herbs, but we would avoid the aggressive approaches if your body is not ready for it.
Exactly. So, as herbalists and naturopaths, we don't think in terms of doing a detox. We think in terms of which systems need support and in what order and how much is appropriate for that person. So, for tonight, it isn't about turning you into our own practitioner supports setup. It's about helping you understand what's happening in your body. So before we talk about organs or herbs, we need a shared framework.
Exactly, Anita. And let's reiterate what detoxification is. So the whole idea of detoxification is to maintain. There's a buzzword you may have heard, naturopaths and doctors use a lot, and that word is homeostasis. So homeostasis basically means the internal balance in your body. So our body's natural mechanisms for creating energy, which is called metabolism, um, constantly creates waste. Waste would be in the form of acids, hormone byproducts, inflammatory end products or inflammatory compounds. And our health depends on how we efficiently process and eliminate that waste. And when elimination keeps up, the body adapts. But when it doesn't, symptoms will begin to appear. And this brings us to an old but very useful naturopathic concept.
Yes, this concept is called toxemia. And you may have heard that word before, or autotoxemia. And basically, what toxemia means is that the waste products accumulate in your body faster than your body can clear them out. Acute symptoms often show the body actively trying to eliminate. So some of those symptoms may appear as eczema, acne, psoriasis, chronic coughs, edema. There's a whole range of symptoms that you may experience when your body's got an overload of toxins. Chronic toxins usually show tolerance, the body's compensating rather than clearing. And this distinction explains a lot of modern chronic illnesses. If we have a look at diet, if we have a look at other means of how we may be getting high levels of toxins in our body may not be able to eliminate them as quickly as we'd like. And it also explains why toxins aren't just out there in the environment.
Exactly. So when we hear toxins, we think of some exotic thing that is out there looking to get us. However, toxic load isn't just about what's out there, for example, pesticides or pollutions. It also includes things that we have going on the inside of us, like normal metabolic waste, inflammatory byproducts, hormone metabolites, and microbial toxins. So this would be, things, byproducts from some of these organisms that we don't want that live inside of us. And also, we would talk of toxic load as relating to the results of poor digestion, stress, even when we don't sleep well, the body produces internal toxicity and inflammation. So all of these, rather than things that are out there in the wild, all these internal factors also increase our toxicity. So which brings us neatly to what actually blocks detox in real people.
Yes, we may find that our bodies have a bottleneck of being able to clear out our toxins. In clinic, we rarely see that one detox pathway is blocked, but that perhaps multiple pathways are blocked. Constipation strains the liver. So if you think of constipation, it backs up into our bowel and there's no clear exit pathway. Those toxins are backing up into our system. Lymph congestion burdens the skin, and that burden may be experienced in the form of psoriasis, eczema, acne, rashes. So it definitely is an accumulation on how the pathways are being blocked. If one pathway is blocked, it's likely there are multiple other pathways that have to pick up the strain, and potentially those would start getting blocked and failing as well. Mineral depletion would slow every detox enzyme and slow our pathways for detox. This is why detox is never just about one organ. And this is why, in our process of consultations, we look at the order and why order matters.
So one of the biggest problems we find with detox that is not properly planned and designed is where people are trying to stimulate the removal or the movement of all these toxins and at the same time. So it's a common mistake. Um, Practitioners think in terms of having the exits well prepared ahead of time before mobilizing the toxins. So otherwise, think of it. Toxins will be released with nowhere to go or no exits. Uh, not having those exits just compounds the problem and might even make it even worse than it was originally. So let's walk through those pathways, those channels of exit, and the order in which we would usually consider them.
First up, we've got the bowel. The bowel is really important, probably our primary exit channel. So, from a naturopathic perspective, detox always begins with the bowel. You can imagine a person that's got a blocked bowel or a constricted bowel, they land up in trouble very quickly and they'll land themselves in hospital. So, as naturopaths, this is one of the first places that we look at to ensure that the pathways of detoxing or elimination are open. If waste isn't leaving daily and comfortably, toxins will get reabsorbed into our body. And that reabsorption is known as autotoxemia. Clinically, this shows up in us as things like headaches, skin issues, chronic fatigue, hormone symptoms. And this is where fiber and herbs are often misunderstood.
Exactly. So fiber isn't just to help us with being regular. That is one of the main benefits of fiber, but it also binds bile. It binds hormones and toxins so that they can actually leave the body. So fiber is like a magnet that holds on to these toxins and the other metabolites in the body, helping them to leave the body. So practitioners would often use soluble fibers and mucilaginous herbs. So these are herbs that absorb lots of liquid, in this case, mostly water. Um, these are herbs like psyllium, um, linseed, slippery elm, and marshmallow root. So these are very useful for our detox process because they would soothe and also escort the waste rather than irritating the gut. So the goal that we achieve with fiber is reliability, not force, which is oftentimes how people think of fiber. And once the bowel is supported, we can then move to the fluid channels.
The fluid channels, one of my favorite areas. So our body lives on fluid. We have, you may have heard that terminology, the body is mainly made out of water, up to 90% of water, and that is where most of the transport happens within our body. Now, you can imagine if our liquid or fluid inside our body gets contaminated, that's a large portion of the body that can be filled up with toxins. So the kidneys, the lymphatic system, and skin, they all are part of that fluid-based waste removal setup. And when these systems are sluggish, this is when people often feel heavy, they feel puffy. Ladies, you may think of it when you are approaching your period, that you may feel bloated and puffy and swollen. So that's a form of hormones being built up in your system and not clearing out properly. You may feel inflamed. So you may feel like you've got edema around your ankles or soreness. Your joints are tight and sore. And that is the body's protection mechanism, where if your body is overloaded with toxins, it will often distribute the toxins into your joints because it's a safe place to store them. The same as if you have too much in the way of hormones circulating through your body. Hormone overproduction of hormones or over recirculation of hormones is another form of waste that can stagnate and be stored in fat. So, ladies, if you are struggling to lose weight, that could be a sign and symptom that you have autotoxemia, that you've got toxins built up in your system. Fluid stagnation is one of the biggest contributors to fatigue. So if you're feeling fatigued and unable to move as swiftly as you used to in your youth, that is a good indicator that you would benefit from a detoxification. And this is where herbs and minerals can really shine.
Indeed. So the kidney and the lymph system fascinates me. Think of these as the rivers in your body. These rivers are what bring nutrients and what take away the waste products in the body. So, and the kidney is quite central to the functioning of this rivulet system in our bodies. Kidney support usually involves what are called diuretic herbs, and these are usually gentle and not harsh um, flushes. And we'll be looking at plants like dandelion leaf, nettle, cornsilk, and cleavers. And these herbs, which we find available in abundance around us, nature has so bountifully provided for us for our well-being. So these support the clearance while at the same time replenishing minerals because these same herbs that I mentioned are so well endowed with the minerals that our bodies need, especially during the detox when not only are we flushing out toxins, but at the same time we're necessarily using minerals to make that process as efficient as possible. So we're losing minerals, but these herbs um, fascinatingly provide us replenishment of those minerals. For the lymph, there are herbs like clavers again, and calendula, which is marigold. These are classic lymphatic herbs that have been used for thousands of years. And when we combine them with movement, with lots of hydration and keeping warm, this can be very effective in clearing out our lymph system. And only once those exits are supported, do we then focus on the liver?
Yes. So the liver, we often think of the liver as our detox organ, and it plays a really large part in that detox process. However, it doesn't eliminate those toxins, it transforms them. So it takes toxins that are needing to be eliminated from our body, and it processes them into a format that our body can then remove through our bladder, through our bowel, and various other ways. Our lungs and our skin play an equal part in that process. Um, but that process does require enzymes and antioxidants, and that helps with transformation uh, of of the toxins, and it transforms them into a way that our bile then can remove them into our bowel tracts. Try say that quite a few times, bile and bowel. If exits aren't open, stimulating the liver too early can make people feel worse, because with that transformation of taking these toxins, part of that process, it has various phases. And part of the process is that one of the phases, it transforms toxins into a more reactive substance. So it could be more harmful while it's transforming it if we don't eliminate it quickly from our bodies. That more harmful process then starts causing problems further on down the line. So liver support has to be one of our clear thought out patterns on how we support our body.
I am amazed by the functioning of the liver. Anita, as you said there, the liver doesn't flush things out, it transforms them. And think of a chemical factory. Think of an alchemical an alchemical device that is able to um, make very dangerous substances inert, make them safe, and then safely remove them. However, the kidney does occasionally need our support, and as practitioners, we use bitter herbs. Um, Bitter herbs are anything bitter is these days not in so much favor, but the body has this natural affinity for bitter herbs being very influential and of great utility for helping our liver to function properly in doing an effective detox. And what herbs are we talking about? Again, these are herbs that nature has abundantly surrounded us with, and these are herbs like dandelion root, artichoke, gentian, or blue plurum. Blue plurum is a more eastern herb, but these are occasionally alternatives that we rely on, or a combination of these And one thing that is common to these herbs that I've just mentioned is that they support not just the production of bile, which is, as Anita just mentioned, is very essential for flushing the waste products from that transformation process in the liver, flushing it into the gut for the exit, for the removal through the exit, as we've talked about earlier on. So they support the production of bile, and also they support the flowing of the bile and making it um, effective in aiding the removal of toxins. We also have hepatic tonics. So think of the kidney, think of the liver in this process of transformation of waste and transformation of often very dangerous chemicals that are flowing through the body. Think of the liver itself needs support. Think of the liver itself that has to deal with. Imagine someone working in a chemical factory that is very injurious to health. They would usually have hazard suits, clothing, and protection. So, in the same way, our liver needs protection as well as it's doing that transformation work. And as practitioners, we would rely on what are called hepatic tonics. And examples of hepatic tonics would be milk thistle, and one of my favorites, burdock. And these are um, herbs that support the liver cells themselves. So these support the protect the liver itself and allow the liver to fully be able to regenerate itself and renew itself and be protected from harm as it's doing the transformation processes. And then we have the antioxidants. So these are usually what we get from foods. We also get them from some herbs and some nutrients. And these are essential because, as we've said, detoxification itself is I'll say a dangerous process because there are harmful products that are passing through our system and they need to be passed out in a safe and effective way. So these antioxidants would protect the body from going through oxidative stress. And oxidative stress is one of the factors of aging and one of the main factors of a lot of chronic diseases. And underpinning all of this is mineral status.
Yeah, so if we're talking about mineral status, we need to talk about what our detox enzymes depend on in terms of minerals. Our liver, in order to process these toxins and have effective enzymes, we need to have zinc, magnesium, selenium, and sulfur. Without these, the detox can make us feel exhausted because the liver is quite an energy hungry organ. And if we don't have enough energy to support us and we don't have enough of those minerals to process the toxins through the enzymes, then rather than helping us, it can be exhausting and not energizing. This is why, as practitioners, we often need to rebuild a person, rebuild up their stores of energy before we even consider applying a detox protocol, because that detox protocol can deplete a person's body before they even get the chance to feel the benefits of a detox. Which brings us to what we may think and consider to pause for our detox process.
Exactly. So whilst we are detoxing, we want to make our detoxing as efficient as possible. We don't want to be undermining um, any of the body's processes at this time. So we've said pause, but a lot of these, what I'm going to go through now, are more than likely things that we need to actually stop, in actual fact. And uh, tell me what you think about late nights. So, some people do better with late nights than others, but something that is for sure about late nights is that they increase the burden on the liver. And on a lot of occasion, those late nights are also coupled with alcohol, which monopolizes detox capacity. So imagine a late night with alcohol that's something that needs to be avoided, um, generally, but even more importantly during a detox phase. Also, skipping meals destabilizes blood sugar, and it also destabilizes those enzymes. The body works on regularity and works on a rhythm. The body likes a rhythm and a regularity and the timing. So if we skip meals, then one sure repercussion of that would be a dysregulation of our blood sugar, and our enzymes would also lose that regularity that we need for a detox phase. So these pauses we're not making moral judgments here. These are just based on what we know about the physiology in the body, how the body functions, what the body needs for it to be optimal. And we can't really negotiate our way out of these ones. They are essential. And then we can add the support back in.
So when we have a look at what that support could look like, to reiterate what we already covered in our first video, is we're looking at hydrating and eating regular meals. So this provides the energy for our body to detox. We look at fiber for binding. So fiber, as Izzy's pointed out, a number of fiber options that binds to the toxins and helps flush them out of our system. We need proteins. Proteins are the precursors or the building blocks for the enzyme creation. And those enzymes, as we've already spoken about, are really important for the liver's functionality and that processing of the toxins. Getting to sleep a little bit earlier or as early as possible, it aids that repair functionality. Our liver needs us to have a good night's rest. It does most of its processing at night while we're sleeping. Gentle movement that aids the circulation of that water flow throughout our system. So those channels, that lymph channels, we spoke about that in our first video, how that circulation process operates best with gentle movement. And if we consider that maybe we look at reducing our exposure to toxins, and we do this slowly. It doesn't have to be all at once, but if you are a keen sugar eater, it's about how can you reduce on that sugar. Maybe remove it from your drinks. See if you can cut back on various areas of getting sugar into your body. Sugar is one of the toxins that we've spoken about previously. If you are a drinker and you enjoy partaking in alcohol, are you doing it sensibly, or is there room for improvement? So definitely we need to look at how we can support the body through the process, give it what it needs in order to help the body detox. This is where our timelines play a big part.
Exactly. So I in our practices, we as practitioners, we as I said earlier, we have different phases that we recommend for different individuals based on where they are, and some phases could take days, depending on what the individual is trying to achieve, and other phases could take weeks. So, for example, if someone is already depleted, we would want to build them up first. We wouldn't want to just throw them into the deep end. Um, and also, depending on the age, depending on the person's health conditions and comorbidities and emotional states and stress levels and so on and so forth. Um, and also, we need to also consider things like pregnancy, whether the person is breastfeeding, if there's an active illness, and so on and so forth. So, what we're not saying is that um, if someone is pregnant, they should do a detox. Again, this is where people need to speak to their practitioner because it may not be safe at some point. It may not be safe when someone is breastfeeding. It may not be safe when there's some active illness going on. So essentially, do work hand in hand with a practitioner to make sure that it's safe for you, and not only is it safe, but that it's also phased correctly and timed correctly.
So before we continue, I think let's have a look at a few questions, and we are going to answer some of the most common ones that we hear in the clinic. Izzy, would you like to take the first question?
Fabulous. So the first question is, what is a simple detox tea that I can start with this week? I get this one a lot. People ask me, uh, can they start with a daily infusion? Can they start with uh, one of the teas that they buy in the store? So the very classic starting point for detox is just a very gentle daily infusion that would support kidneys, that would support digestion, and that would support mild lymph flow. So for many people, we would start with a herb like nettle. Nettle is an herb that you would find very easily around. It grows very profusely in many regions of the world, and would also recommend dandelion leaves as a base because these two are not only great for detoxing in that sense, but they're also mineral rich, and they would support the clearance of stagnant fluids and stagnant toxins in the body. And again, if you're thinking of fresh herbs around springtime, you would find cleavers, which grow quite profusely as well. And these are amazing, especially if you feel puffy, congested, or you feel stagnant. So a practical home version is make a large jug or mug in the morning. If you're out and about or you're going off to work, you could take it with you in a water bottle, and then you can sip it throughout the day, which is even more effective to have that constant flow of liquid through your system throughout the day. And then you don't have to do this every day of the week. You can just take a few days off each week, so you're not constantly pushing. But again, I'll usually say the best judge is listen to your body. Your body would constantly give you messages of how it's feeling, and you can never go wrong when you listen to your body. And your body will tell you when it's pushing when you're pushing it too hard. Um, and if someone's more digestive heavy, so we're talking about having lots of bloating, sluggish bowels, and just struggle to move things through the digestive system. We will think of things slightly different, and maybe this is a good segue for our next question.
Yes, absolutely. Our next question is, I get constipated when I detox. What should I do first? So this is a very important clinical point. If detox makes you constipated, that's your body saying that your exit route needs to be sorted out first. You can imagine that as you start detoxing and your processes are opening up higher up, if you're not flushing things out through your system, then it can compact and create a backlog of detoxification going on. So before anything liver focused, so those people that want to rush in feet first without considering the rest of the detox process, think about how you're going to improve your exit pathways before you start addressing your liver. And you want to make sure that your pathways of elimination are daily and that you have a comfortable bowel movement. So having a bowel movement once a day is the bare minimum. If you are not, then you need to reconsider how you approach your detox, where you need to start, and consider speaking to your healthcare practitioner. They can support you on this process. For many people, food would do the heavy lifting for you. However, if you've got a food allergy, it could be blocking your ability to detox. So, consulting with your healthcare practitioner can help identify where you need to start. When you consider which foods can help with opening up your bowel pathways and improve your daily bowel movements, think about foods that are mucilaginous. And what I mean by mucilaginous is when you add water to them, they get like a slimy coating. Think your chia seeds, your flax seeds. If you are a cereal lover or you enjoy having oats in the morning, you can grind up a few flax or chia seeds and put them on top of your cereal. You can add them into your smoothie. It's a very easy add into your daily routine, and it doesn't change the flavor of the food you're eating. Another really good way of creating that daily bowel movement is by increasing your fiber and bulking up your stool with fiber. Fiber comes in the form of vegetables. Vegetables that are strong, like the top parts of a plant, your legumes, your leafy greens, um, even your fruit, like an apple. An apple's got a lot of fiber in it. So when you have a look at perhaps adding in herbs that can support your system, there are two herbs that immediately come to forefront of our minds. The one is marshmallow root, and marshmallow root is fantastic. If you think of a marshmallow, it's all spongy, and that's how marshmallows actually came about, is that the root was harvested for its sponginess, and the original marshmallows were made with marshmallow root. So you consider adding marshmallow root into your smoothies, it creates that sponginess, which means that your stool is softer and can pass through your system and eliminate waste and toxins quite easily. The other one is slippery elm. Slippery elm does an amazing job at clearing and helping that bowel movement. Slippery elm's not as easily obtainable, and it's not my go-to herbal formula just because of its lack of availability. If your gut is irritated, these two herbs are phenomenal at healing and sealing that gut lining. It not only helps smooth the gut lining, it also helps with the elimination of that waste. You'll probably find that things go a lot better with a little bit of support from the herbal department. If someone needs gentle motility support, we'd consider that process and how we can support them on a case-by-case basis. And the reason all of this matters is because of what happens when waste doesn't leave our bodies. Izzy, would you like to cover the third question?
Yes, the third question is something that we get very often, which is what if I feel worse by going through detox? So there's a constant concern that people have about detoxing. People have different feelings about detox. Some have done it so many times that it's no longer an emotional challenge, a physical challenge, or maybe less for them. Whereas for others, it might be their first time and they're considering whether they will feel terrible. Would they get worse? Would they need to take time off work based on the reactions that they get from the detox? And this is something we get all the time. And there may be temporary signs of detox being in progress. And these would be things like headaches, a bit of fatigue, which doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong, or essentially that you should stop the detox. What it means is that your body's recalibrating towards balance. So these are called healing reactions. So you may get a bit of a headache, a bit of fatigue. Sometimes your digestion changes. You may have increased bowel movements. Some people get skin breakouts, some get rashes or dryness or sweating, increased urination. It may be different for different people. So these healing reactions, as they are called, or detox responses, can occur when your body is releasing stored toxins. So, in a sense, it's a good thing because it shows that your body, the toxin is actually going on, and your body is gradually adjusting to deeper cleansing than it is used to. So consider these as not regressions, but responses to renewal. And this stage often precedes breakthroughs in clarity in your energy levels and vitality. So it's almost like that darkest point in the night before the sunrise in the morning. So if this is your first detox, reactions may feel stronger at first as your body adjusts, but future detoxes are often smoother and shorter. So why do these healing reactions occur? As I said, so toxins are being mobilized, stored waste and microbial byproducts are released into circulation before they're eliminated. So your energy is also repatterning, your circulation, your lymph and hormones are being resynchronized, and your cells are being renewed. Um, but when do you need to seek practitioner help? So seek practitioner help if reactions persist longer than a day or two or three. So if you have a reaction that goes longer past this number of days, because normal healing reactions um, may last a day or two or three, but anything beyond that, speak to your practitioner. Or if you have severe diarrhea, vomiting, um, or weakness to an extent that you become immobile and you can't carry on with your daily functions, or if you have confusion about whether it's actually detox or some of your if you have other conditions in your body, then definitely speak to your practitioner. And I've mentioned only physical reactions. You may also have emotional and mental reactions. So, on occasion, as a practitioner, I do say to my clients, if you have someone that you're living with, obviously they will usually know you're going through a detox, but if in doubt, just let them know, because just so they're aware in case there's emotional releasing, there's mood swings, because you may have anxiety. Vivid dreams is one that occurs on occasion with some of my clients. Um, so essentially, let this not scare you, because again, I've listed a lot of symptoms or side effects of detox, but these are not no one person will have all these reactions. So you may have one or two, or you may have none. I would say maybe 20% or thereabouts. 20 to 30% of people will have a one of these symptoms. I hope that answers that question. Anita, is there anything you would like to add to that?
You've done a brilliant job there. As you can tell, Izzy and I, we're quite passionate about helping people and help people on their healing journey. So we always get excited when people come to us with a complex case going on, or simple ones that we can help support them through it. Because for us, it's a problem solving heaven that we really enjoy. We get stuck into the weeds of things and we go all out to try and figure out what is going on with your body and how best we can support you as practitioners. And as Ezzy said, if your symptoms are strong, or if they are persistent for longer than 3 days, or if you are worried about them, please pause and get guidance. We're here to help support you. So detox should feel supportive and it should not feel like a battle.
Amazing. So we will answer a couple more if we have time, or otherwise, we'll have our details at the end. Stay connected. If none of your questions got answered today, um, please reach out to us. We love responding to our a lot of times my clients say to me, I hope I'm not asking too many questions. And I say, wow, I love to get the questions, because that way we make sure that our clients are getting the best out of whatever detox process they're going through. So, in closing, tonight we've talked about detox as support. So, uh, if we want to, if we're to leave you with one refrain tonight, and that would be think of detox as you supporting your body. Think of detox as you giving yourself giving your body the emotional, the physical, and the rhythmic support that it needs. We're not talking about restriction. We're not talking about excessive force, and we're not talking about unnecessary strain on the body. We're just talking about supporting the body and providing it what it needs to um, do what it needs to do, and that is to open up the elimination pathways. And once those pathways are sufficiently accessible and open, then the next phase would be to then guide the um, toxins, which is what shouldn't be in the body or what is in excess in the body, to leave the body gently and without pressure and with support and necessary gentleness on the body. And also, we did talk about listening. Listening because your body is constantly communicating. Your body is constantly trying to speak, trying to alert, and trying to be in communication. Have you driven a car that has no dials, no means of letting you know what's happening with the car, how fast you're traveling, or how much petrol you've got? If we don't have that with cars, imagine how such a complex system as the body, which has been designed to communicate, but we have to listen, we have to pay attention, we have to be in close um, communication and engagement with our bodies. And that is not to fight it, it's contrary to fighting. So we're listening, not fighting. So here's how you might take the next step from this session.
If if the session has helped you, if the session has helped you make sense of detoxing and how things work, that's already a win for us. As I mentioned before, Ezzy and I, we're passionate. We love what we do, and we're here to help people. If you'd like personal guidance, I offer detox and terrain focused programs through my company Heal I Am, where I work to support and assist your body through that detox process. And if you're looking for a structured, accessible starting point, Ezzy and his team at Natural Approaches, they offer a rebalanced detox quick start toolkit, as well as a one-to-one discovery session to tailor your approach.
Yes, absolutely. There's no pressure, there's no rush. And remember, no one size fits all. Thank you so much for showing up today for your health.
We hope you feel clearer and that you leave feeling calmer and more confident in your next steps. If you want to contact Ezzy, you can find his contact details on his website, which is www.naturalapproaches.com. If you would like to contact myself, Anita, you can find my contact details on www.healiam.co.uk.
Amazing. And wherever you are on that journey, you don't have to do it alone.